You are listening to And That's Okay, the podcast devoted to encouraging you to live in your truth in a society where reality is not what's socially popular. This is a platform where you could be a novice about anything and feel comfortable about it. Let's have the conversations we all wish we had years ago and want to hear more of. Nothing is off limits and there is no shame or judgment here. Join me as I navigate life, marriage, friendships, finances, career, and whatever else life throws at me. Listen, doing all this self-work is bound to piss a few people off, and that's okay. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Angelique. Let's get into it. Can someone help me understand why they never taught us about money management in high school, like before we got to college? Even when we got to college, we learned about time management, but why not money management? Credit cards, card payments, leasing, debt, credit score, all of that stuff. Why didn't we learn it? I have a few, I wouldn't necessarily say tips, but a few ways of how I did some things to not be in debt. I'm currently in my 30s and I don't have any debt. I do not own a house yet, but that's on my list, baby. I am currently debt free. One of my huge accomplishments as an adult is setting life up so that I am debt free because, baby, I do not like owing people. I do not like people in my pockets. I don't. Get out my pockets. You don't work hard for this money. I am very a pay them people type person. Like, what? Interest rates? Who? So I gotta pay more money on top of the money I spent? You asking for more because that is not me. I do not like that. So here's a few things that I did for me to be able to consider myself debt free. You can try some of these things or look them up and see what works for you. Everything may not work for everyone. So I went to college and I had student loan debt. I got my first job, I think about like 6 months after graduating college, I started working. And after 6 months, them payments start to be due. And what I would do, and I'm not sure where I got this idea from. I don't know if I got it from my mom or it just hit me. But when I got my income tax, it took me a while. I didn't do it immediately, but after a few years, when I did my income tax and I got that money, I put that money directly to my student loans. Now, I know everybody may not be able to do that. I completely understand. But I looked at it as, if this is money that I'm really not expecting to use towards anything, why not put it towards my student loan so this is that much less I have to pay? And I was doing that every year. So I made that sacrifice for probably like 5 to 7 years, I would say, just thinking off the top of my head. I would take that income tax and put it directly to my student loans. I finished paying off my student loans by 29. Granted, I graduated, I was 21. Student loan debt was paid off by 29. I have no student loan debt. And just by doing that helped me. If I got some extra money somewhere else, I did put it towards that because I do not like owing people, paying people every month. It's so ghetto. I do not like it at all. But some things you can't get around. But that was the small sacrifice that I made in order to pay off my student loan debt. Another thing that I did was my car payments. Once I bought a car and I had my monthly car payment, and to increase my credit score, I would split my payments in half and pay every 2 weeks. One, that helps your credit score because it looks like more on time payments, and you also pay less over time in interest. Look into it. I paid my car off a year ahead of time. I believe doing that allowed me to pay my car off a year ahead of time. So think about it. If you have a car payment, split your monthly payments up and pay every 2 weeks. If your car payment is $300, pay $150 every 2 weeks. It also helps spread your money out too, because it's not $300 coming out at one time. If you need to split it between paychecks, or you need some money to go here and some money to go there, it makes it easier when you realize you only got to pay $150 rather than the full $300. It definitely helps your credit score. Also, for my wedding, we did not go into wedding debt. We did budget-friendly options. We did also have help from parents that helped us, took over a couple things we had going on. But we also saved money and then made payments at the appropriate time. We worked hard to not be in wedding debt. So if you could avoid wedding debt, I definitely say do so. I may have mentioned this in the Meet the Missus episode. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it. But if you can avoid wedding debt, avoid it. Or save and have a budget. Having a budget definitely helps. If we did not want to spend this much money on a photographer, we did not spend more than that much money on a photographer. If you want a videographer, set a budget. You will find someone that's good in your price range. It may take a little work, but you will find someone good. And there's always ways to kind of like cut corners and have things look really good. Another thing that I did recently was I wanted to figure out what my net worth was. Now, you know, the celebrities, you go Google them, they got $1 million net worth. They got $2 million net worth. They got $1 billion net worth. And I was like, let me see what my regular day-to-day life net worth look like. That way I can create goals to increase it. And if you're not familiar, your net worth is basically your assets minus your liabilities. In a nutshell, assets are what you own and liabilities are what you owe. So you basically sum up everything you own and sum up everything you owe and subtract the two, and there's your net worth. Do it. Take a look at it. See what it looks like. For myself, I was surprised at mine. I was like, okay, you doing better than what you thought you was. There is so much more on the horizon that I want to do personally, but that gave me an insight of where I was right now. And I suggest you do the same. If you want to, you don't have to, but it's nice to know where you are right now. Now, if you have debt and you're trying to pay off some debt, I recently listened to a podcast and they talked about paying off your smallest to your largest to kind of nip the little ones in the bud, because you know the interest just piles. Or take something that has the highest interest and put money into that. But create a plan. Like budgeting allows you to see where your money is going and keeping track of your money. I used to budget years ago because at the beginning of the month, I was like, why am I always broke at the beginning of the month? Bills due. And I sat down one day and I was like, okay, my check come this time each month, twice a month. So when my bills are due? This bill due this day, this bill due that day. Okay, so on this check, I could pay these bills. And on that check, I could pay these bills. So that I don't feel like at the beginning of the month, I'm always broke. Like, where's all my money going? And I did that every month. Yes, it takes work to do a budget because you have to sit down and do it every month. But believe it or not, that's how you understand where your money is going and you have control over your money. You can set rules. You can set boundaries like, oh, I didn't reach my dining out budget for the month. I need to cook more. I can't overspend. Or, oh, I still got money to go eat out. It's in. Drop them racks, you know? It helps you create a balance and a focus because you know where your money is going. I just want us as people to be better with our money. We sometimes are recklessly spending and not caring and just spending this because we got it and spending and then wondering where our money's going. And you look at your bank account. Now, let me tell you something. For a while, I didn't want to look at my credit card statement because I was like, girl, you just been tossing, swiping. I was just like, I can only imagine what them statements look like. But then I was like, well, how do I know where my impulse spending is if I'm not identifying it? That way I know, okay, Ange, you can't be spending all this money like this, or you're buying things that you do not need. You're buying things just to buy stuff. And that's wasting money because it's taking up space and you are not going to use it. You don't need it. You do not need it right now. So why not better allocate that money to something else if you got some debt, if you're saving, Why not save that money to go for something you actually need and you actually want, rather than just feel like since everybody else got it, you need to get it? No, better spend your money so that you can have these racks on racks on racks, that when anything happens, you got the money to pull it out or take care of things. You got your savings account, you got your checking account, you got a Roth IRA, you have your 401k, whatever investment accounts you got, you comfortable. We're not taught how to be financially stable, and we should definitely change that, starting with ourselves. One small step can lead to big results. Think about it. Start small. A little bit here, do a little budgeting. Start small. Take a look at what you've been spending your money on. Let's start there. Take a look at what you've been spending your money on. Do some research. It's tons of financial accounts out there that will help you, guide you. Find one that works for you. There's apps out there. Find something that works for what you got going on. It's not going to be easy, and it's definitely going to take work. Nothing in life is easy. Everything takes work if you want it to be better, to be great at it. It takes work. It takes knowledge. You have to learn. You have to read. You have to read. In order to be better, read, study, educate. The learning never stops. It does not stop. Just because we are not in school anymore, learning does not stop. It keeps going. And why not stop the generational curse of not being financially literate with us? And let's learn. That way we can teach our kids and prepare our kids better, so that they want to learn too, and they teach their kids, and we create that generational jewel. It's no longer a curse. Like, it's done, dead. It stopped with us, and our kids are flourishing when they get older. They know how to deal with money. They understand how credit cards work. They understand how interest rates work. They understand how investing works. They understand how to save. They understand how to buy the things that they need with the money that they have. If you don't need it, why are you buying it? So it just takes up space and you don't use it. It's so many things over the years that I've gotten rid of that I just bought, and I'm like, why did I buy this? Now I'm being more strategic on the stuff I buy, so that I'm not wasting money. So that when I'm ready to buy the things that I really want and need, I got the money. Because that's the type of life I want for me. It all depends on the type of life you want for you, but having money makes things a little bit easier, because you could pay for this. You could pay for convenience. You could pay for, if you want to have a babysitter, you could pay for it. If you want somebody to come do your laundry every week because you're too busy to do your laundry, you could pay for it. You got the money to pay for it. You could pay for that luxury to be convenient for you. Money talks. Money could buy a lot of things, and it could definitely help make life easier for you. So why not want more of it and spend it on the things that truly matter and make life easier for you? This stuff ain't going nowhere. It's not. So just think about it. All I ask of you is just think about it. Take some of the tips that I gave and some of the ways that I did my money management. I'm not the best. I'm still learning. I'm still getting used to budgeting. I started budgeting this year and doing it monthly. And it is a lot, but I am making it work. But it allows me to see where my money is going. And it allows me to say, hey, I only want to spend $100 on eating out this month. Once I hit that $100, that's it. And I can see that because I'm going and I'm constantly knowing where my money going. The goal is to have control. Once you have control and that discipline, what? Unstoppable. And then you can help other people and share how things work for you, because what may not work for me might not work for you, but you may have a better way. Or you may have a different way that I didn't think of. And then you talk about it and I'm like, oh, let me try that. Like I like that. Like, we have to have these conversations and talk about it. Like, we don't talk to each other about the things that matter. Let's talk. Let's have these conversations. We all want to be better. Let's all help one another be better financially, mentally, emotionally. Let's talk about it and have these conversations. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you walked away with some valuable information. Make sure to follow the podcast on IG at And That's Okay Podcast. You can connect with me directly on there. Looking forward to the next episode. Remember to spread love, kindness, and make the choices that bring you peace.